We're looking at page 506, number 103. Number 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry. The first thing we're going to do is make a box and whisker plot of this data. What 5 numbers do you need to make a box and whisker plot? What 5 numbers do you need to make a box and whisker plot? Emma? Median?
Lower quartile, upper quartile, the lower and the upper extreme.
Good. The minimum and the maximum. We're also going to check for outliers. Write that down. You need to know that when I make a box and whisker plot, I need those 5 numbers. The minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. Well, to find these things, what do I have to do with my data? What do I have to do with my data before I can find the lower quartile, the median, or the upper quartile? Morgan? Put it in order. It looks to me like there's 14 data points, right? I see a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Oh, there are 3 5s. I saw 2. There are 3. And remember, even if you have repeats, you write every single one down. I don't see any 6s, but I see 2 7s. A 9 and another 9. A 10, 11, 15, and now I'm going to count. Do I have 14? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14. There's an even number, you're right. So to find the median, I have to find the average of the middle 2, or the middle 2, 5, and 7. It is. What's in between 5 and 7? 6. So you could find the average, but I hope you know that there's the 6 is in between 5 and 7. For real? What's the lower quartile? It's the lower quartile. What do I have to do?
4.
Cover the median. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're right. It's in the middle. My lower quartile is 4. My upper quartile, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it which 9?
No, 6.
It's the second 9. Now, are there any outliers? How do we check to see if there's an outlier? Emma?
Well, first you have to find your IQR.
Good. We find the interquartile range, which is what?
5.
Good. It's 5 because I take the upper quartile minus the lower quartile.
5 times 1.5.
And then I multiply it times 1.5. Why? Definition says we do. Think it's 7.5. Am I right?
7.5.
How do I figure out if I have an outlier? How do I figure out if it's beyond my box? What are you going to do, Caden?
Oh, I know why.
Okay.
Because I thought that there's a decimal there is
No, that is not correct.
not.
So how do I know if there's one on the lower side? I always do what? If it's farther than 7.5 away from my box, then there's an outlier. Well, where does my box start?
4.
At 4. Well, 4, take away 7.5, that's a negative number. Do we have any negative numbers?
No.
Do we have an outlier there?
Nope.
Nope. So because I don't have any points farther below 7.5 than our box, not an outlier. That's why I'm taking it away, because it's low and I'm trying to find it away. From my upper, how do I figure out if I have an, if one of these numbers is an outlier? What are you going to do, Emma?
You take 7.5 and add it to your upper quartile.
How come you added before we subtracted?
I think I know.
Why?
Because the 4 was going down.
Yes.
5 was going up.
Yes. So we're trying to figure out if it's big. So do we have any outliers on this one? No. What questions do you have about finding outliers? So all of that is review from last week. All of that is review from last week. So our minimum is 1. Our lower quartile is 4. Our median is 6. Our upper quartile is 9. And our maximum is 15. Now we're going to make a box and whisker plot because we have all the numbers we need. But it's like graphing. The first thing you have to do is make your number line and evenly spread it out. You have to evenly spread it out. So I'm going to draw a big line. It's just like a graph in that it needs a title. What's this graph? What's this data about? What's the data about? Good. So I'm going to write depth of recent earthquakes in kilometers. I generally just copy whatever the title of the table is, but you have to have a title. And then you get to pick. It goes from 1 to 15, so I think I might count by 2s. I think I might count by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16. I could go up to 18 and 20, but I don't really need to, right? I can get all my data on there. I probably should have spread them out a little bit more. Notice that they're pretty evenly spread out. It's just like when you graph something, they have to be evenly spread out. Now I want you to watch me first, and then I want you to do it. Because I think this is the fastest way. I'm going to put a straight up and down mark. Are you all ready to watch me yet? No. Not yet? Okay, so tell me to slow down. I'm going to make a mark at each of my 5 numbers first. So pencils down and watch how I do it first. I'm going to put a mark up and down at 1. I'm going to put a mark up and down at 4. I'm going to put a mark up and down at 6. I'm going to put a mark up and down at 9. And I'm going to put a mark up and down at 15. So they call this a 5-number summary. I put up and down lines. I know in the book they put dots. I put lines, and here's why. Then I go whisker. I put the line in the middle. Then I go box, box, and I put a line on the top and the bottom of my marks. Remember, the median's in the middle of the box. And then I do whisker. And I don't need any stars because we don't have any outliers. So I put the 5 numbers as straight up and down lines first. Then whisker, box, box, whisker. You do it. I'm with you, Mrs. Smith? Yep, they must be on lunch. Now, B says, what percent of the earthquakes were between 4 and 9? Oh, what percent? If I have 2 quartiles, if I have my box, what percent is between 4 and 9 kilometers? 2 quartiles is what percent? Each quartile is what percent? 25. I've got a box and a box. So what's my percent? 50%. So some of you from last week have not remembered that quartile means a quarter. Each whisker is 25 and each part of the box is 25 and that other whisker is 25%. And then finally, it says write a sentence explaining what the length